Hello world! Malicious hackers are increasingly turning to exotic malware, but what is that and why? And a dark web tool which helped cybercriminals figure out how dirty their Bitcoin is has been shut down. That's in today's episode of The Week Web, where we break down and dissect cybersecurity related tech news. Malware developers are increasingly turning to exotic programming languages in a bid to evade antivirus software and frustrate malware analysis efforts. This is according to a new white paper from the likes of BlackBerry. Yes, BlackBerry still exists. Fun fact, if you weren't aware, after BlackBerry's exodus from the mobile device market, they're now doubling down on cybersecurity services. An exotic programming language is one that deviates from what is normally used to develop malware, i.e. ditching C, C# and C++ in favor of Go, Dlang, Nim, or Rust. As BlackBerry explains, binaries written in these languages can appear more complex, convoluted, and tedious when disassembled. As such, this makes efforts to analyze them more difficult and time-consuming. Switching to more exotic languages also aids in thwarting signature-based detection. This kind of detection method looks for patterns of code analogous to already known malware samples in order to identify new malware, but when malware is authored in a new language, as opposed to what has been seen traditionally, signatures written to detect the previous iteration will more than likely not match. Hence, this makes malware more likely to evade detection and infect a victim. And when the malware sample eventually lands in the lap of an analyst, breaking down and understanding the code may be made more difficult. I should note, after trawling through Reddit, I realised there is some controversy surrounding what constitutes an exotic programming language. Feel free to start a debate in the comments, but please don't shoot the messenger. One such example of this phenomenon is Fickerstealer. It's sold on Russian cybercrime forums by one Ficker, whose profile picture definitely isn't completely haunting. If you know what this is a reference to, if it even is, please let me know in the comments. To me, it just looks like an artist's impression of some anthropomorphized gelatinous potato entity, complete with swimming goggles. Anyway, Ficker, it's a malware as a service product. Similar to how ransomware as a service works, customers pay a subscription fee to use the malware on an ongoing basis. Written in Rust for the aforementioned reasons, it is in essence a login stealer. It targets credit card information, cryptocurrency wallets, and of course saved login credentials on both Chrome and Firefox. Here's another good reason to use a password manager. It can also act as a downloader to download and execute additional second stage malware. Ficker is often spread via spam email campaigns, armed with a familiar foe we on this channel seem to encounter on a regular basis, macro-based Excel document attachments. Developed with script kiddies in mind, Ficker provides its customers with a user-friendly dashboard, making it easy to sift through hacked users and examine any data, such as logins which have been exfiltrated from victims. Ficker continues the trend of malware checking the victim's keyboard layouts. If the victim PC is using the keyboard layout of an ex-Soviet country, it won't infect the victim, and will instead delete itself, all in an effort to help the developers avoid legal trouble. This video is sponsored by RoboForm, which aims to level up your security, something I'm sure you value if you watch these videos. Reusing passwords or even having strong passwords but storing them in your browser are both massive no-nos. It's very common for malware to simply steal passwords stored in browsers like Chrome. This is where password managers come in handy. Now, I put off using a password manager for the longest time because it looks like a hassle. That's until I tried RoboForm. RoboForm has been around since 1999. These guys know what makes a good password manager. It simply sits in your browser and fills in passwords when you need them. It's easy to import logins stored in Chrome, Firefox, what have you. It'll also automatically generate super strong passwords when you sign up to new websites. Working with Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, and Android, RoboForm seamlessly integrates with all the platforms you use. All your logins are stored behind a cloak of 256-bit AES encryption, only unlockable via your master key, and of course two-factor authentication is supported. Greatly enhance your security today for the price of a pizza. If you use the link in the description, you'll get a whole year's access for just $16. That's little more than $1 a month. And in the unlikely scenario you aren't happy with RoboForm, they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's a no-brainer. RoboForm, linked in the description. A dark web tool which helped cybercriminals understand how dirty their Bitcoin is has been shut down. The website, called Antanalysis, was accessible only through the dark web. It aimed to provide insights as to where your Bitcoin originates from, namely if it's linked with any illicit activities. The demand for such a service stems from the risks cybercriminals undertake when they handle cryptocurrency. Since Bitcoin's blockchain is completely 100% public, it's feared that large exchanges like Coinbase will perform their own analysis on users' wallets, flagging suspicious-looking Bitcoin to law enforcement agencies. Obviously, this would be of great inconvenience to crypto crooks. As such, this site enabled people to take it upon themselves to analyze their wallets to ascertain their level of risk. Antanalysis charged roughly $3 for a risk report, breaking down your Bitcoin wallet's balance into various risk gradings. High risk relates to crypto which has passed through dark web markets, been involved in ransomware activity, has been stolen at one point, and so on. Whereas low risk coins are those purchased from exchanges and newly minted coins from miners. Antanalysis addresses the idea of why don't you just cash out in Monero and be done with it. XMR, or Monero, is a privacy-focused coin. Its blockchain is not visible, so it looks like the perfect choice for criminals to launder money. However, they explain, cashing out in Monero raises eyebrows on exchanges. If you use the Bitcoin to Monero and then back to Bitcoin method, you still get flagged down by our services labeled as high risk. I was going to check out Antanalysis firsthand, but it's now been shut down after receiving some unwanted media attention. The problem is, this site was marketed to cybercriminals. Surprise, surprise. The website was using the services of a legitimate company, AMLBot, to conduct their analysis. AMLBot's own analysis of wallets looks very similar to Antanalysis. After finding out that their API was supposedly being used by criminals, AMLBot pulled the plug on their API access, effectively rendering the dark website useless. It turns out that the creator of Antanalysis is also one of the developers of Incognito Market. Incognito is a dark web drugs marketplace, the developer of which, one Pharaoh, posted a statement defending their now defunct service by stating, "Our team believes that in the current democratic world, every one human being has the right to do whatever they want and possess complete overview of their privacy while not violating individual rights of others," essentially playing the libertarian card. And fair enough, it is a valid argument, but I don't think this is going to convince AMLBot to restore their API access. In the wake of all of this, AMLBot confirmed that it had reported all relevant addresses that used Antanalysis to law enforcement. This could result in the identification of Pharaoh or others behind the dark web site. If you enjoy this kind of video, make sure to help me out by tickling the like button for the YouTube AI, as well as turning on those sub notifications. After that, remember to go and check out our sponsor, Roboform, via the link in the description. And if you're looking for something to watch next, go check out my previous video on why hackers are using Morse code in 2021. As always, sources will be linked in the video description. Stay tuned for more hacking videos, and have a good one.